is it better to smuggle than have lost, or to never smuggled at all?
I can't answer that. I'm not like a philosophizer.
Welcome back to Two Lowly Investigators.
Greeting, fellow humans.
With Tyler and Kyle. This is another part of our Forgotten Age segment on the factions, basically. We're taking the factions, looking at their investigator, and looking at their cards, and just kind of talking through what we like and don't like. So, normal videos, kind of speech patterns and content, but different length, and we're going over investigators this time. So, this is the Rogue video. If you want to watch any of the other videos, they'll be on the same channel. They'll be titled, the Forgotten Age, blah. So it'll be like Guardian, and we're not putting Guardian, Rogue, Protector, Paladin, because that was too long.
Too long. It won't fit on the internet.
We're trying to become more serious. But yeah, there'll be 5 videos in total, and we're not going to talk about anything else from this set. So, yeah, keep an ear out for the other 3 videos, and we'll see you next time. No, I'm just kidding. We're talking about Finn Edwards right now. He's the bootlegger, so he's the guy that has what you need. He's got all the cigarettes in prison.
Yeah, and other various items.
So he can take an additional action every turn in which to evade. So he can evade once every turn. So that is nice because his stat line is built to evade. He's got a good agility. He's got good books too, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah,
4 books is pretty solid. Investigation, 4 books is good, and we'll see in a second when we flip him over to look at his deck building restrictions why having 4 books for him is going to be even better than normal.
Yeah.
So,
and he's pretty decent at punching things. Fisticuffs.
So yeah. Go ahead.
International sign for fisticuffs,
which is like doing this thing. Yeah. Okay. It's not just throwing a boxing glove at someone.
No.
Okay. Bad willpower though, but that's kind of par for the course for most of the like exciting rogues. Like Skids is like really bad at doing. He's really bad at not following his heart, I guess is what that means.
Yeah.
Really bad at following his heart? I don't know. We'll figure it out when we're older. But
I'm just gonna roll with what you said.
Sure, yeah. His Elder Sign effect says +1 for each exhausted enemy in play. If you succeed by 2 or more, you may discover 1 clue at your location. So like this weird mishmash of a bunch of stuff happening when you draw an Elder Sign with Finn. But it's kind of cool. If you're kind of focusing on his abilities and you want to run the way, you can exhaust a lot of enemies and hope you draw Elder Signs. Or with other card effects, we're going to see like the Mystic, the ceiling on Father Mateo. You could like auto discover clues with this.
Yeah.
So, interesting. Not auto, but... And then it says, never lose track of the exit or the merchandise. Because he's got to live on that. He has to sell that merchandise, man, even if it's not his to begin with. Was it you slipping, I'm gripping? Is what I told you. But he's a 7/7, so right in Tyler's range of good investigatorial stats.
Yeah, of not dying stats.
On the back, we got his deck building stuff. So he's got normal deck building 30, size 30. He can have illicit cards 0 to 5. So interesting start. Like usually it says like the class they are 0 to 5, right? But Finn only has illicit cards 0 to 5. Rogue cards 0 to 3. So he can't have some high level rogue cards. Neutral cards 0 to 5, and then up to 5 other level 0 seeker or survivor cards. So
yeah, that's an interesting one. This is like a complicated deck restrictions going on here.
It's not as complicated as actress lady Lola Hayes, but it's definitely not a basic one that you'd want to like start someone with.
Yeah, for sure.
But he does. The interesting thing about Finn too is that he has 3 deck building required cards, which is kind of interesting. Not everybody has 3. Most of the time, people have 2. But he's got Smuggled Goods, Finn's Trusty 38, and Caught Red-Handed. So, but the reason that we're saying his stat line's good for this is because Seeker cards want you to investigate. Sometimes. A lot of Seeker cards do. And a lot of level 0 Seeker cards do, or care about your books. So having a good book skill is good for having Seeker cards in your deck.
Yeah, definitely. So
I think that Finn is probably the one I'm most excited to build around, like in my head. Not maybe for... I don't know if I'm going to play him in Forgotten Age, but he's the one that I think has the most, like, rich building environment.
Yeah, I think you can do a lot of stuff with him. Like, you can fight with him or, like, go investigate with him. Mm-hmm. Probably your
And now that's from this set. I mean, obviously the rich building environments on he's like a jack of all trades, master of none of every investigator that's ever come out. Because some of them want 5, but you can take from any faction. Some of them have rogue cards, but up to 5. The illicit thing right now, that as far as we could tell, only covers you for Chicago typewriter because every illicit card is rogue at the moment. So
yeah, so he's basically rogue.
It just says basically. You deck building options: rogue cards 0 to 3 and Chicago typewriter is what it can say, which isn't cool because which isn't bad. The Chicago typewriter is fun, but Finn is interesting. So in the other games like Eldritch Horror, Finn is one of the characters that I like. If I have to pick from someone, I pick someone else because Finn's abilities are they're like really good if you're sticking around other people, which in that game we find ourselves not doing that much. So I'm interested to see how Finn plays out in this kind of smaller scale where everybody's a little closer together. So, this first card, Smuggled Goods, is a 0-cost event with a question mark icon on it. It itself is an illicit card, and it's a supply card. Keeping in mind that it didn't say illicit item cards, it just says illicit cards on Finn's deck building restrictions, so you can put any events or assets or anything that you have that is illicit. Play only if there are no readied enemies at your location, so this plays really well into, obviously, Finn's first ability to be able to have an extra action to run every turn. And search either your discard pile or the top 9 cards of your deck for an illicit card. Remember, card, not necessarily an asset, but card, again, that's important. And draw it. If you searched your deck this way, or if you search your deck, shuffle the smuggled goods back into your deck. So, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought this was really cool, because if you're searching your deck, it never goes away.
The thing I like the idea of like how it feels to me when this is happening. So, it lets you shuffle it back in if you're pulling from your deck, which makes me feel like he's got like a cache of things, and every time he keeps pulling them out. And then the final thing he pulls out is like when you have to discard smuggled goods because you can't get it back out once all the things that you pulled out of your deck are effectively in the discard pile and been used. So you got to use it as much as you want until the cache is empty.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like it. It's really thematic.
Mm-hmm. And searching the top 9 cards of your deck is great. Like that's what we've established is probably like a third of your deck. So if you're building right, you're not going to miss it. And sometimes, I mean, if you're building your deck the right way to hit and utilize these cards, you're going to be in a good spot, usually.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you might use a flare and whiff. I think I did that the other day. Next card we got is Finn's Trusty 38. Never leave home without it. What is this one? Oh, there's no, because it's not an item. 2-cost asset with a feat and a question mark icon. It's an item, illicit, item, weapon, firearm, illicit, blah blah blah. It's got the whole range of traits that all seemingly important rogue weapons have.
Oh yes.
All the unique rogue weapons anyway.
Yes,
like
most rogues would carry. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't carry registered firearms.
Yeah, it would be like the Chicago typewriter or Lucena or whatever that shotgun is, stuff like that.
Oh right.
It's his deck only. It's fast, and it uses 3 ammo, so I like the idea that it's fast. That's really cool to me. To have fast on this card is really awesome, because it plays into this like rogue idea of taking extra actions and kind of feeds into that. Because that's effectively an extra action, right? Spend an ammo to fight, you get +2 for this attack. If the enemy is not engaged with you, you deal +1 damage. So, like, to me that's interesting, because it's not just about exhausting enemies, it's like you can shoot at other people, but then you have a chance of really, really messing them up.
Yeah, definitely.
If you miss. But +2 for the attack is great. Like,
yeah, that's a ton.
That for two. You do that 3 times.
And then you're swinging at 6?
I think so, yeah. 6?
Or, no, 5. Because he's 3 fight.
Yeah.
Which is,
but you could make it, what is it? Finn's Trusty 38, that reliable Finn's Trusty 38. Oh no, you can't pull that in, but that would be fun. Yeah. Anyway, we won't look at that. But he said it's a. Okay, yeah, I just like this card a lot. It makes me feel good.
Yeah, it's a pretty good gun.
And with contraband too, or no, not contraband. Yeah, contraband. You can actually double it, so you can have 6 on it. Other people can play cards that can give you more ammo or supply tokens too, but. Again, that's why I'm like thinking Finn is pretty good with like more than one player, because you can like combine stuff around. But he does have this card, Caught Red-Handed, which is, I think, a pretty brutal weakness, or has a potential to be a pretty brutal weakness. ready each enemy at your location. So that sucks because if you're trying to base around like having exhaust enemies, that's stinky. Or connecting location, which means that if you're in the wrong spot, you've just messed everybody's turn up if you draw this at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Each hunter enemy at a connecting location moves one location towards you. If no enemies move, shuffle it back into your deck. So this is the same one as we saw with Ursula. Like, it gets shuffled. And it gets discarded or shuffled. Like,
yeah.
So the discard would be great, but that means that a bunch of crap just happened that ruins all your day if you have enough enemies out. And you really like are hoping for a few enemies that are out when this happens, right?
Yeah, definitely. And this one I feel can just be really treacherous because they can just, if you pull it at the wrong time, enemies can just dogpile you, and then you're dead. And
so I was thinking about that, and we talked about this a little bit before we started recording, and it's like the times in which you draw this, right? You might hit it in the Mythos phase for drawing an effect like off the tooth, right? The teeth.
Yeah.
That would be okay, because then you have 3 turns to... You have your whole investigator phase to deal with it, which is okay, because enemies haven't attacked you. So if you draw it in the investigator phase is when it's the worst. So if you draw it for your first card, you may survive if you get lucky. Yeah. With Finn specifically, because he can use his extra action to evade. Maybe that's what you want. If you draw it as the last action of your phase, and you've already used Finn's ability, that's when you're most screwed.
Yeah.
Like, you are going to probably die, depending on how much damage the enemies are doing to you, even at Finn's 7/7. Drawing it in the refresh phase is not bad at all. That's like drawing it in Mythos. So, yeah, I agree with Tyler. Like, this is the one card you do not want to hit in the investigator phase. If you're like just drawing cards because you don't have anything to do, like, don't. Just get some resources, maybe stabilize. Like, especially if there's a bunch of enemies out, like 3 or more, because it could get brutal. I just like the idea of, like, he gets caught smuggling, and then that pulls all of the really bad things that are hunting you towards you. It just makes me feel like a movie.
Yeah.
Where, like, you get in trouble for the slightest thing. Or maybe a Dresden Files book is what I'm thinking about. But you get in trouble for, like, one little thing, and then everything just collapses in on you and just destroys you. So the first card we have out of the set, and I think this is the one Tyler is like happy about talking about because it's got a lot of combos you're thinking of, right?
Yeah.
It's called Decorated Skull. It's a 0-cost asset with feat icons. It's an item, relic, and it's cursed. So cursed item, that's new. That's interesting. That's scary. It's a relic, so it fits into. It can be put in Ursula's deck. It's got 0 charges though. This is one of the first relics that comes out, or items that comes out with 0 charges. And it's charges, so that means Akicha can have it in it. I'm never going to say her name right, but the shaman lady can have this in there because she can have charges cards. But after an investigator ally, asset, or enemy at your location is defeated, place a resource on the decorated skull as a charge. You can spend a resource to draw a card and gain a resource. Or you can spend a charge, to gain a resource and draw a card. So I think that's cool.
Yeah, I thought this one was really cool because... and it combos well with, like, Leo.
Leo, yeah?
Yeah, because, I mean...
Because you're going to be killing assets instead of yourself.
Yeah, if you just want to, like throw away the lives of all your companions, you can just, like...
Literally, because, like, it sounds like it's absorbing souls.
Yeah.
And, like, you're basically, like, give me power, and it's like, cool, what soul do you want to take out of here?
It's super fun.
That'd be fun to have, like, soul counters, so you have, like a different... kind of charge counter for each like item, asset in the game, or enemy, or character, and then like you can use those with Decorated Skull to choose which soul you're sacrificing to get your card or resource.
Yeah, that would be like super fun.
Yeah.
So like I really like this, like the theme of this item.
Yeah, and like Tyler said, I think it plays well with anybody who's using allies because they want them to die eventually.
Yeah.
Anybody who's fighting a lot, so like Zoe, if Zoe could have this and be in the same location as somebody who is using the Decorated Skull, that's great. Once again, this might be good for I don't know how good it is with Ursula unless she's with someone else, right? Because Ursula doesn't really kill stuff, and she doesn't really want her companions to die.
Right, she'd have to be around like a fighter or something.
Same with
like killing monsters.
Yeah, same with Finn. I think Finn would be like someone who'd want to be around other people that were charging this for them instead of charging it themselves.
Well, Finn's a fighter. He's a fighter.
I guess that's true. He's got 5.
Like, so I mean, he could probably kill some stuff and charge it a bunch.
Again, and I like the way that this card's just completely backwards. Like, you play it and it's nothing, and then you start doing stuff and just like and gets more powerful.
Yeah,
I think that's a cool thing to see.
Yeah, I just think it's weird that it's like a rogue card because it's.
Well, it's decorated. It's got jewels on it.
Well,
and they care about money.
I guess freaking rogues getting all the cool stuff.
Yeah, that's yeah. We'll talk about that. Maybe we'll do a whole video about how much we are butthurt rogues get cool stuff.
Yeah.
But
it to survivors.
I think that this card is one of the funniest cards in the game right now, or in this set, because it's a treasure hunter. It's 1 experience and 1 cost. It's got a book. It's an ally wayfinder. It has 2 health and sanity. You get an extra book, but he runs away in the upkeep phase if you don't pay a resource. So like it's like hired muscle, but for books in Rogue. And I'm like, what is this card? like, why does he cost an experience to put in? I mean, is it just because you get an extra book? I mean, in Rogue, or like, I think it's funny because I don't really understand it yet. I'm just like, what is this?
True. I guess he's fuel for the skull.
True.
And he's probably just.
Is that going to be like the new, like we should get a shirt that says fuel for the skull?
Yeah.
And it's just like a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's probably what you'd use him for, and he's just like a book that you have while he takes damage and fuels your skull.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. But then you have to pay for him, right? So, but that's genius because you just don't pay for him and he just fuels the skull. Because they don't have to die. They just have to leave play.
Is that what it says? I think they have to die.
Oh, it's defeated. I wonder what defeated means. Put it in the comments. Can you not pay for it?
They die. They have to die.
Discarded is technically like a form. It goes to the discard pile, so it must be a different card. It must be different words. They're literally different words.
Get a rules lawyer.
Yeah.
Rules lawyer.
We're summoning the rules lawyers for comments here on Treasure Hunter's interaction with the. Is it fodder for the skull if for its forced ability, or what do you say? Does it feed the skull with its forced ability? But I mean, I think overall this guy's actually great, just because if you look at nothing else besides the fact that he costs 1 and he gives you a 2/2 and an extra book.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
But if you have this guy, Venger Dude, and Higher Muscle for Leo, that's like, and then you get your trusted ally thing. Mm-hmm. It's +1 to all their health.
It's just 1. It's just 1 health because it goes on 1 ally.
Oh, okay.
But I see what you're saying.
But think of how much damage you're absorbing. Plus, when they die, you're getting if
the trusted skull's around you,
yeah, you're getting so much.
I just thought it was funny that you said that because Leo's story is all based around the fact that he's the only survivor. But basically, whenever you're gonna play Leo, he's always gonna be the only survivor.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, leave comments about Treasure Hunter. Where do you see it going in the future? Like, what is it good with? Because we're gonna talk about one of my favorite cards from this set, which I think is just hilarious. Rogues and Protectors, Guardian, Paladin, Knights have the best titled cards in the game. And, where you have the Get Out, I'm Out of Here, Watch This, stuff like that. Or I'll See You in Hell. Stuff like that is just hilarious to me. And this one is called You Handle This One. And it's kind of extra. He's like, you handle this one. He's angry. He's just sitting there smoking while they're fighting some other stuff. And it's 0 cost event. It's a book and a foot icon. And it's a trick. So that's kind of interesting. Fast, as you draw a non-parallel encounter card, but before resolving its effects, choose another investigator. That investigator is considered to have drawn the card instead, and you get a resource. Shove on, let's take care of this. I mean, I love it, but I feel like it's such a jerk move. Why would you play this without... You have to talk to someone before you play this, right? You're like...
Well, yeah, you could talk to someone.
It's we're getting deep into the role play of this game now, because You Handle This One is the jerkiest card that exists. Well, I mean, I guess it's from... Let's look at this more seriously. From a standpoint of being able to control the board state when encounter cards come out, or treachery, mythos cards come out. Or, sorry, no, it is encounter cards. When encounter cards come out, this is a good card to push away from you if you can't actually handle it. So This is nice if you're an enemy. If you're at one location by yourself and with maybe a seeker who can't fight, and you're I can't handle this right now. I can't do this. Or this is really good for not dying from low willpower test, right? You shove it off to somebody who's got 5 willpower, and they're like, sure, I don't care. It can make it so you, the person who has seemingly some of the best cards in the game, doesn't die as quickly.
Yeah, and it also goes well with... Finn's 38. I mean, if someone's right there and they happen to be the next player, you can give a monster to
that's a
them,
good
and
point.
then you can just like start shooting it in the back.
It plays well with like it's like a reverse taunt.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're like, and it's not just for enemies though. It's like for non-weakness, non-peril encounter cards. So like any card that you don't have to choose yourself. So you're just, that's the nice part. Taunt is just creatures like when you're taunting, right?
Yeah,
but
naturally.
this card is like move it on, and then that person has to suffer 2 in that phase, but you don't have to do any, which
True.
still jerky, but if you think about the strategy, it could be really great. All right, our final card is the Eavesdrop card. It's a 1-cost event with a book and a foot icon. It's another trick, but it's also an insight, so keep that in mind when you're playing with Seeker cards and pulling that those play from your discard pile stuff. But choose an unengaged enemy at your location. Test X, where X is the evade value of the chosen enemy. If successful, if you succeed, discover 2 clues at your location. That's so. I was like, I don't think I've read this card before just now, which means I'm really bad at what we're doing. So use that with what you will. But I'm going to tell you the experiences while I was reading this, because I was reading it and I was like, okay, it's an event, it's a trick. You choose an unengaged enemy at your location and test book, where X is the evade value. So like you have the normal thing for investigate, an evade thing, and then you're like, get clues, and you're like, what is happening here? What is going on here? But that's kind of cool, because you're like listening to them, they're like talking in some like foreign language, and you're like, they're playing.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. They're gonna meet up at South Square.
Yeah. Yeah. It's in theory good. I feel you have to do a lot of stuff to get like clues. I mean, if you didn't get attack opportunity while they were like attacking you, it'd be cool. It's like, oh man, they're right over here. They're like in my face. I don't know.
You know what I just thought about though?
Aloof enemies would be good.
That's what I was
you
just
could
thinking.
like follow
With
a
whippoorwills,
whirl
and they're
around,
like, you get -1 to your test, but you discover double the clues at your location.
And it's like, oh man,
Suck it, whippoorwill. You're getting worse.
I'll figure out how Azeroth is going to take over the world.
They're like, we're gonna steal all the souls. We just finished another campaign with not finished, sorry, we're in the middle of it, and like whippoorwills are in it, and we got totally screwed last time by them, because it was like 3 whippoorwills came out at the same time, because we're playing with 5 people, and so we draw 5 Mythos cards, but we pretend like there's 4 players for all the other game effects, and still like 3 of them came out at once, and then we had like 2 other mega horrors out, and it was like, how can we do this without just dying this turn?
You should know, man. You should know.
Whippoorwills. So yeah, that's all the cards we have for the rogue part of this. Again, keep an eye out for the other factions as they come out, and let us know if you like this format for deluxe boxes. If you don't like it, let us know what we should do instead, or what you might like. Comment on anything that we said was stupid, or help us with that rules thing between Decorated Skull and Treasure Hunter as far as the forced reaction goes. Like, comment, subscribe.
And happy smuggling, everyone.
Happy smuggling.